Hello, my name is Beatriz, and I'm here to share a bit of the work that I've been doing with Gabriel, Sandra, and other people from Project ICOMA. And today the presentation is called Using R to Clean Data from a Map-Based Survey, and the idea is to share mainly the challenges and the lessons we learned. So Project ICOMA is a project that started in 2022, and the plan is to still continue until next year. So it's an ongoing project, and we have people from 3 different countries, so Brazil, South Africa, and Germany. And we are funded from different organizations. In Brazil, we are funded by FAPESP. So about this presentation, I would like to clarify that I'm not going to speak about different difficult analysis or things like that. I'm going to focus on this importing data cleaning and transforming steps. So the first steps when we are analyzing data. And the presentation is going to be mostly about my personal experience in the project. So the project started in 2022, and I joined as a postdoc in July 2024. So as I said, it's a work in progress. So the main idea is to talk about how we did the data cleaning for the map-based survey, but it's important to clarify what is a map-based survey. So a map-based survey is a survey where the respondents can interact with maps and provide location-based responses. For example, when you ask, where do you study? You can ask the person to point in the map the place where the person studies, for example. So this map-based service has become more popular in recent years, especially in participatory research. So our survey aimed to understand how the COVID-19 pandemic affected the mobility of people from urban marginalized groups. So we collected data in 3 regions, so Cape Town, the city of Cape Town, the city of São Paulo, and rural area. And we got more than 300 responses in total from the 3 countries. And one thing important to mention is that the survey was collected in person, and at least for the Brazilian team, it took around an hour for each complete responses. So it's not a simple survey to collect. And we asked questions related to 3 periods, so before the pandemic, the first year of the pandemic, and during the data collection, which happened in the end of 2023 and start of 2024. And we asked information about the respondents and up to 3 people in their household. We also asked information about activities, and we collected coordinates for each person in each period for the following activities. So home, where do they live, work, school, daily needs, health, and social. We also asked additional questions related to mobility. For example, how long does it normally take you to get there? And this is a really important question for us, not only for the answer itself, but also for data validation. So the software used to collect the data is called Maptionnaire. And it's a software that aims to facilitate the data collection. It has an interface that you can access, for example, in a tablet, which is what we used in the data collection. And you can access a web page on the tablet, and you can see the map inside the interface in the survey. So the data from Maptionnaire is exported as raw data in Excel files. In these Excel files are quite complex, I would say. So we have several sheets that we have to work on. So the first sheet is the respondents. So this sheet has answers for the general questions. So questions that are not linked to a map. So for example, you can ask where does a person, no, how old a person is. So this is not a question linked to a map. And each row corresponds to one response to the survey. And we also have one sheet per country. So this is an example of our respondents sheet. We can see that there's other things that we have to think about when cleaning this data, and I'm not going to focus on every step here, just the main challenges. And another thing is that we have map question sheets, which are most of it. So the map question sheets are the sheets called GeoPoint something else. So each sheet stores one map question. So for example, where do you live? The answer for where do you live now during the data collection is going to be in one sheet, and the answer for where did you live before the pandemic would be in another sheet, and where do you live during the pandemic would be in another sheet. So that's the idea. So since we have 3 periods and 6 activities, we have 18 sheets per country. And in these sheets, each row represents one individual in the household. So it's a different unit of analysis than the last sheet. So this is an example of one GeoPoint sheet. So we can see that we have the coordinates, and we have more questions that is not showing in the print screen. So the main packages that we use was Tidyverse to perform data analysis and general tasks like data cleaning things, and SF, which is a package that we use a lot for dealing with the coordinates and especially validating the coordinates. So I would like to share a bit of the main challenges that we had, because I hope this can be useful for other people that works with map-based survey. So this challenge number 1, as I said before, we had different sheets that had different sample units. So we had to decide which way would we transform it. So we did a pivot. So each line in the final data set would correspond to a person, not one household, which is like the way that the respondent table is initially. This first one. The second challenge is the related of the number of sheets. So we used a lot of per, because considering the 3 countries, we had 57 sheets of data, and we use a lot of per to iterate on these tasks, but we also agreed to join all the tables into one single wide as a set. And we used the respondent's ID and the number of the person, the household, to join as the keys. And the third challenge, which is the one that it's more fresh and we have been dealing with more recently, is validating the coordinates, so the latitude and longitude. So in order to do that, we started creating a matrix of distances, considering each person and period. So for one person in one period, we got all the coordinates for the activities of this person, which is up to 6, right? Up to 5 in the house. And we did the distance between the house and the home and each of the activities. And with this matrix of distances, we identified the distance that were really big, like outliers, because that could indicate that it might be an error. And we checked those cases manually in the raw data. So one thing that we did is that I talked to the team that collected the data, and we discovered some problems. So, for example, while they were collecting data, when someone added their street name, sometimes Maptionnaire didn't show the street that is in Brazil, but showed the street in another continent, which is Portugal, because we have some streets that has the same names. So some coordinates had to be manually checked to be corrected, and others had to be removed because we didn't find the correspondent street in São Paulo, for example. So some main reflections are, first is the choice of software. Maptionnaire is not an open software, and for me, this is a really something important because I always prefer to use an open source software. One thing that's quite prohibited for countries, the research groups from countries in the global south, is the pricing. So it was around 1,000 euros per month, and TU Dortmund paid this subscription. But as soon as the time of the subscription finished, the research team lost access for the platform. And for me, that doesn't make any sense. For me, it would be natural to not be able to collect any more data, but not to lose access altogether of the platform. So Maptionnaire is a focus on data collection and not in data cleaning and data analysis. And it's important to think about that after you collect the data. Otherwise, you could have data that has wrong coordinates and things like that. And in future projects, I would prefer to research more and use other software. So I found this book, which is called Evaluating Participatory Mapping Software. So if anyone is planning to do a map-based survey, this book has a chapter for each software available. And it's a great way to start first finding which are the other softwares that we can use and see the opinion of other researchers and compare the tools before you do a big commitment of paying this pricey subscription. And the second remark that I think it would be involve the person responsible for the data analysis in every step, not only after the data collection. In my case, I was only added to the project recently because of financial funding questions. We didn't have enough budget to have this position for the whole project, so I joined after the data collection. But I think in future projects, it's important to have a person that is responsible for the data analysis participating in the data collection as well, because it would be a great opportunity to follow up on the responses that we are getting, seeing if there's anything that it would be able to fine tune the training with the data collection team, and therefore improve the quality of the final results. And also, I think it's important to add in the research calendar enough time to clean the data. And I think this sometimes is not so clear for people that are not used to data analysis, but cleaning data might take a while. Not because sometimes we're not just running functions. We need to understand what was the context of the data collected, trying to find possible things to fix, to correct. We have to validate what we're finding and things like that. And that takes time because usually we have to talk with different people, think about ways that how we can tackle these problems and things like that. And that takes time. So for other research teams that are planning to do a map-based survey, save a time in your research calendar for this type of data cleaning. So I hope that by sharing what were the challenges and the remarks we had so far, the lessons we had so far, this could help other people interested in doing other map-based survey. And thank you all. This is my email, and we'll see you in Latin art.